Emilee's story and the art aspect of it, and some of the like magical subjects that we both are interested in. I think they're attractive to people. Whereas I know usually also like I usually have an intuition about if a thing is gonna have a lot of views or not. And to me, that's not very important because it's not the goal of my podcast. But I think this
What
is
is the goal?
the goal is high quality conversation and letting people that want to be heard. Or in Emilee's case, Emilee didn't reach out to me. I reached out to her because I thought people would want to hear. Um, and I also thought like this would be a super interesting person to talk with.
Why do you think
But
people wanted to hear what she has to say? Because I think both of us, your art just makes sense to me. It has for a while. And I knew when I talked with you, Lucas, I was, obviously I brought you up, Emilee, in the conversation because I was like, I could feel that it would suit you. But so why do you think what she has to say, why'd you know what she had to say would resonate? And what was it specifically about the art when you looked at it that made it feel like it made sense to you?
actually, let's start with the art. Actually, of this question, I thought the art was like undeniably beautiful, but also kind of psychedelic, to be honest, which I really love. Like it seemed more chaotic than what I was used to, but it also connected to this tradition. It kind of felt like a visual representation of what Peterson did with the Bible, you know,
Mhm.
whereas like he makes it more alive and like uh
Hmm, that's interesting.
represents the depth of it actually. So that's what the art did to me. That was really exciting. And then I've just well, I'll speak personally why I think Emilee's interesting is that she is an artist and that makes her way of thinking much more unique and also less verbal. I picked up on the fact that you said that you think visually, Emilee. I have the same, and I've not found anyone that has that as well. For me, it's like predominantly images as well, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's really interesting because it pulls you out of the usual verbal patterns that a lot of us are in. Like right now, I'm in this stage with my podcast where I've spoken to a lot of like this little corner people, and we've kind of ended up in the same type of spot. Like a lot of us turn to Christianity and a similar story and a similar lingo. And I think one of the reasons that Emilee was interesting to my audience and beyond, so people from the outside, is that she has a different perspective. So it that can afford insight, when someone thinks a bit differently. Um, and yeah, just the artistic fact I think is also super cool. And I generally don't have a lot of women on, and I think women often are more intuitive than men, which is, I mean, it's kind of an obvious statement, but it sometimes can get really dorky when you just speak to a bunch of dudes, like
Sure,
so
sure.
propositional and like brainy. And it's not the same for all people because I think I'm more feminine myself, but generally speaking, um, yeah, that's what I would say.
I guess to
Thank you,
serve it,
Lucas.
yeah, that is.
Thanks for that.
Mhm, mhm.
Guys, making me blush.
Why? So this is, I'm sure it'll be a weird question for you to answer, but why do you think what you're doing resonates so deeply? You know, because I think for me that's what it was. It was a depth of the imagery to where it was like, oh, this art is different than other art. Yeah. Why do you think it resonates the way it does?
I don't know. I have no
Hmm.
idea. I'm making it because it's what I need to make, and the fact that anybody wants to look at it at all is like shocking and amazing. I don't know. I think it's very emotional to me, and maybe that's part of it. I'm not sure. It's like it's really um I don't want to be disparaging in the way I say this, but I know people who got really into like they draw fish and that's all that they draw. They would like specialize in fish or medieval armor and that was like their thing. And Um, I just don't know how much you could feel about fish or like medieval armor, but for me, this is coming from like a problem or a tension or a this is something I think the things I'm drawing and working on, it's something I think about all the time. This is like my entire um world is wrapped up in what I'm doing, so I'm trying to put that into it, and maybe that has something to do with it. That it's coming from something really fundamental to me.
Mhm.